Hey everyone. Yeah, I've got about 20, I would say about 23 minutes to go before, or 22 minutes before I have to clock in from lunch. But I thought I'd come on here and kind of discuss, some things going on in WWE right now. First of all, as we all know, WWE has come under a lot of scrutiny lately for the decision to go to Saudi Arabia and hold the Crown Jewel event. Now, WWE, sorry about that. Now, WWE pretty much throughout this past week has done a lot of things to try to calm the storm. They've removed Crown Jewel from the event listing and put it back on. They removed ticket information, put it back on. Removed location information, put it back on. They are basically taking some very gradual steps because they don't know what's going to be the outcome in the long run. And they did still promote Crown Jewel. They still promote that it will be in Saudi Arabia, but they are, in a sense, not specifically saying it. They're not saying where it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. They're not saying, much about it. I mean, as far as on television, as far as I know on television, from what I understand, they're not saying much about it. So yeah, WWE still plans to go through with this, and you have several talents, if not a lot of talent, in the WWE right now that's kind of edgy about going over there. Some have been, some I guess, anonymously have made it very clear vocally that they're not thrilled about the idea. WWE has come out and said, hey, we're listening to our stars, and again, we're monitoring the situation. So, monitoring the situation to me, and I think everybody else has said this, is WWE's answer of, hey, we're still going to do this, but we're going to figure out a way to make sure it gets done, that we go there, get this event over with, and get out as quickly as possible. Heck, I even talked about the fact that WWE, I think, has to, how do I put this? It's going to probably have to do what I talked about in that one video that I did at home. I think WWE is going to basically have to come up with a contingency plan of go there, get the matches, get the event over and done with, and as soon as the event's over, just get your superstars in and out of that stadium. Tell them not to worry about showering or getting the clothes on. Just get the bags, get to whatever travel bus they're using to get to the airport and get on a flight as soon as possible, as quickly as possible to get out of the country. Like I said, to get out of the country because of the fact that I'm assuming the faster they do this, the quicker they can avoid any kind of possible confrontation or situation. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm guessing. And I'm thinking, because WWE is saying, hey, they're monitoring the situation, they're coming up with some ideas, some contingency plans. And I think one of those contingency plans is going to be, like I said, I think one of those contingency plans is going to be, get the superstars in and out of there as quickly as possible. And as soon as the event's over, get them to a location. Sorry about that. But like I said, get them to a location. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, like I mentioned in the video I did at home, the best idea that I just said. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. But the best idea is going to basically be like, as soon as the event's over, get the superstars out of there as quickly as possible. Don't worry about changing into the clothes or anything. Just get them out of there. Get them on the bus. Get them to the nearest airport. Fly them back to the States. So that if anything is going to go down, they can avoid it as quickly as possible. That's basically the the feeling that I get coming from WWE when they say they're monitoring the situation and they're coming up with all these different ideas and plans for the event, as far as the event is concerned. And then, of course, you got people like JBL and Randy Orton saying basically the same thing, that, hey, we should not cancel the event, and that if you want to create change in an environment like Saudi Arabia, you need to go through with this kind of an event. You need to do this kind of thing. And I will give them props that, yes, something like this could help. But right now is probably not the ideal situation. I mean, several months ago when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble, people were on edge with even this 10-year agreement that WWE made with Saudi Arabia and the whole sports committee deal or whatever. But they were willing to let that slide because, you know what, at the time, Saudi Arabia is not the best place to hold sporting events of any kind, or sports entertainment events of any kind, but nothing really came about as far as, possible murders, terrorist acts, stuff like that. So WWE still went through. So basically, people really didn't crap on WWE that much when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble. Yes, again, like I said, a lot of people pretty much felt that this deal that they've made with Saudi Arabia is poison. It's not the best deal. It's not the best idea, just because Saudi Arabia's just because Saudi Arabia is offering you all this money to hold an event or two a year, to hold several events, maybe mostly two events a year in the country at any one of those sports venues. It's like to a lot of people, it's not worth it, because inevitably it's going to backfire on you. It's going to come back to bite you. But again, I think honestly, it's up to WWE what they're going to do. I mean, if they want to go through with it, fine. But I think they're going to have to come up with a contingency plan or some kind of alternative plan to get the superstars out of that stadium as soon as the event's over, as quickly as possible. Because you never know what's going to happen. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. I'm just being distracted by some of the cars going back and forth and the noises they're making. But like I said, to a lot of people, it's just not worth, WWE, it's just not worth it. In many people's opinion, this deal WWE has with Saudi Arabia is not worth it. It's not the best idea. But like I said, if they still want to go through with it, I believe one of the plans they're going to come up with is to get the superstars in and out of that stadium as quickly as possible. Have security surrounding the superstars as they come to the ring and go, and leave, as soon, basically, I think, as I mentioned, as I mentioned in a video, I think honestly WWE could have security escort the superstars to and from the ring, so that nothing potentially dangerous or troubling could occur or could happen to them. So I think that's one of the ideas as well as to get the superstars out of the building, out of the arena, out of the stadium, as quickly as possible. But like I said, back when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble, some people, like I said, were still not happy about this, even though there was a mixed reaction to Greatest Royal Rumble. Some liked it, some didn't. The overall consensus here, or the overall consensus when you look between both events, is back then, several months ago when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble, it's like there was nothing majorly bad centering around Saudi Arabia besides its reputation. And I don't mean any offense by that, but basically the reputation that has preceded and has been associated with this country, nothing really terrible has ever, nothing really terrible happened at that time. That got in the news and everything, that affected a lot of businesses and anything, any businesses associated with Saudi Arabia in some shape or form. Sorry about that, but like I said, it didn't affect any businesses associated with Saudi Arabia at that time, because nothing tragic went down or anything. But now, fast forward to this current timeline, and now you have this situation going on with this journalist that went into this parliament and just never came out. His wife reports the fact that he never came out. He just went in, never came out. The reports of what's happened. The Turkey, who's had their issues with Saudi Arabia, say they have evidence that, the unthinkable occurred. So, yeah, there was nothing like this happening back when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble. So that's why, even though people didn't like the idea that WWE was, working with Saudi Arabia on this deal, there was nothing going on at the time that would really call for people like the Senate or the government or the federal government or whatever, or senators or whatever, to say, hey, you guys need to pull out of here right now. You guys can't go through with this because this is not a good idea. There was nothing, there was nothing at Washington. There was no one from the Senate or the House of Representatives or anybody at the time the Greatest Royal Rumble happened. Sorry about that again. But like I said, there was nothing of this magnitude, in a sense, that happened during the Greatest Royal Rumble that caused Washington or the state, the federal government, the Senate, and all that, to call upon WWE to say, hey, look, you need to get out of this situation. There was nothing at that time, but now there is. So yeah, WWE apparently still plans to go through with this, and we'll just have to see what occurs. I'm not trying to say that WWE should cancel or anything. Heck, OTRS Central even said, why should they cancel this event? They're going to go through with it anyway. And OTRS Central has their own views on why this event should go through as well. But again, it's everybody has their thought process on it, and like I said, if they're going to still go through with it, unless something comes up at the last minute, then yeah, my thought process is two things are going to occur. You're going to have security escorting the wrestlers to and from the ring, and then you're going to have them escorting the wrestlers out of the building as soon as the event's done, as quickly as possible, to the bus they came to the event on, to the airport, and flying them out of there as quickly as possible, maybe even before the night is through. So that's what I think WWE is going to come up with, as far as, contingency plans, monitoring the situation kind of deal. But yeah, we'll just have to see what they do. Just have to see what happens, and it's going to be on WWE. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be on them. If anything bad does happen, but like I think some people have said, unless Vince McMahon himself gets a phone call from Trump, the president of our country, saying, you can't do this, Vince, I order you, I forbid you, that's the only way it's going to stop. Or the only way the event's not going to happen. So that's really all I'm going to say on it, guys. Let me know what you all think down below. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on WWE seemingly going forward with the Saudi Arabia trip, or the Crown Jewel event. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think WWE should do? Do you think they should cancel, or do you think they're going to come, or do you think they should and possibly will come up with a plan to protect those superstars, like having security escort them to the ring and to and from the ring? And do you think they're also going to come up with a plan to just, as soon as they get to the back, grab their stuff as soon as the event's over, get to the tour bus or whatever buses they take to the airport, and get them out of there as soon as possible. What do you think they're going to do? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to y'all later.